Coming up, a deadly motorcycle crash near West Fargo. What we know about the accident. A big change is brewing for Bison fans at the FargoDome this coming season. And details on the multi-million-dollar plan for more fast charging stations for electric cars in North Dakota. Hello and welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Tom Tucker. We begin with a look at tonight's headlines, then a closer look, with comments tonight from Outgoing Fargo School Board member Jennifer Benson, reflecting on her 2 terms on the board, while also sharing her hopes for the new members just elected. And in tonight's one-on-one, part 2 of my conversation with Minnesota Republican gubernatorial candidate Dr. Scott Jensen, commenting on being investigated now a 5th time by a state medical board. But first tonight, a man was killed in a motorcycle crash on I-94 near West Fargo last night. It happened near mile marker 341 just after 9 o'clock. The State Patrol says the bike started to wobble and the 36-year-old man was thrown from the cycle and he died at the scene. His name has not yet been released. The West Fargo Police Department is asking for your help in finding a missing teenager. 17-year-old Layla Aoun left her home June 15th and is not communicating with her family. Layla is described as 5 feet 4 inches tall, 160 pounds, with black hair and green eyes. Anyone with information regarding Layla's whereabouts is asked to contact law enforcement. Beer sales could be allowed at NDSU Bison football games as soon as this coming season. Tuesday afternoon, the FargoDome Authority indicated with an informal vote a general approval to making a change in language to their lease agreement with NDSU. There was no opposition to the idea of allowing the Dome the right to sell alcohol at Bison games. The authority and the NDSU athletic department still need to clarify details, including percentages that each side would take from concession revenue. A study for an expansion at Hector International Airport in Fargo is now complete. The proposal calls for adding 4 more gates for a total of 9 gates at the airport. The cost ranges from $113 million to $119 million. The expansion would impact the east side of the airport, and there's no word yet on when that project might move forward. The United Way has kicked off its school supply drive, which runs now through July 31st. Community members are asked to give monetary donations or new school supplies. Lists of needed supplies and drop-off locations around the valley can be found online at their website, unitedwaycastclay.org. Elm Street near El Zagel Golf Course in North Fargo has finally reopened. That stretch of Elm had been closed because of spring flooding. Floodwaters finally receded and the road was cleared of all hazards and reopened Tuesday afternoon. Fargo's newest city commissioner is now officially sworn in. Denise Kolpak says she'll be learning the ropes and doing her homework. She says her first priority will become obvious rather quickly.
I'm very focused on the child care issue, and it was my number 1 issue in the campaign. And I promised those constituents it will continue to be my number 1 issue.
Kolpak, who was sworn in Tuesday night, also says she hopes to bring more professionalism to the city commission. The first human case of West Nile virus has been detected in North Dakota this season. The person diagnosed with the virus lives in Richland County in southeast North Dakota and was not hospitalized. A state official says this is the time of year when it's important to protect yourself and loved ones from mosquito bites. West Nile virus activity is not yet reported in Minnesota or in South Dakota. North Dakota is set to receive about $26 million over the next 5 years to create a network of fast charging stations for electric vehicles. The State Department of Transportation is asking for public comment as it develops a statewide electric vehicle infrastructure plan. The plan is required by the federal government in order to access federal funding. State transportation officials say the first phase of the project will be to build chargers no more than 50 miles apart along I-94 and I-29. And North Dakota farmers are expecting a good season despite delays in planting. Farmers say canola and wheat are both looking good and say there should be a substantial harvest. A researcher at NDSU says continued hail could damage crops at this point in the growing process. A state official says 90% of the state is made up of farms and ranches. In a closer look tonight, Jennifer Benson is looking to the future while also reflecting on her 2 terms serving on the Fargo School Board.
It's been 8 years, as you know, that I've served on the board, and I've certainly experienced a lot. I've learned a lot along the way, and I'll miss the work. I truly will.
Benson participated in her final board meeting Tuesday night. She says she'll continue to fight and advocate for community members and the Constitution. She's also expressing hope for the 4 new members just elected to the school board, whose terms begin on July 12th.
I hope that the new people coming to the board will seek to understand actual true governance model. I hope that they will take that approach so that they can be guided by less emotion and more about policy decision making in terms of, again, going back to what is the role of an elected official? What are they there to do?
Jennifer Benson relinquished her position on the school board for an unsuccessful bid for a seat on the Fargo City Commission. She's not ruling out another run for a citywide position sometime in the future. Well, if you find the Nightly Review a better way to stay on top of what is happening in the FM Metro and beyond, please take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell button below to make sure you're always up to date. Well, weather-wise, it might be time to batten down the hatches once again. There's a chance for severe weather in the region tonight. Here's meteorologist Justin Storm with the forecast from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Thanks, Tom. Throughout this evening before 1 a.m., we'll have a slight chance for a couple of isolated strong to severe thunderstorms, then just a slight chance for some general thunder showers through the rest of tonight. With lows tonight in the mid-60s, we'll see the wind becoming light and variable, but of course it will be a little windier around those storms. For your Thursday, a few morning showers across the valley, then partly cloudy into the afternoon. Just a slight chance for an isolated pop-up shower throughout the day with highs in the mid and upper 70s. We'll be a little on the windy side, though, with a northwest wind around 10 to 25, gusting up to 35. And we'll stay breezy on Friday with gusts up to 25, partly cloudy skies, and high temperatures near 80.
You can spark hope for others. Now through June 30th, lighten the load of neighbors in crisis with a gift of $10 or more to the Lend a Hand Up Summer Boost campaign. All gifts will be distributed to boost help for local families, and the first 100 donors will receive a gift card to Star Fireworks. Learn more and give to the Summer Boost at lendahandup.org.
Lend a hand, lend a hand up.
Lend a Hand Up is community powered and guided by Dakota Medical Foundation.
Welcome back to the Nightly Review. My guest for tonight's one-on-one conversation once again is Dr. Scott Jensen, the Republican gubernatorial candidate for the state of Minnesota. In part 1 of last night's talk, Jensen discussed his call for eliminating personal income tax in Minnesota. Tonight, we focus on other issues. The State Board of Medical Practice is now investigating Dr. Jensen for a 5th time. I asked Jensen about the investigation and whether, as reported, he would make changes to that board if he's elected.
I so appreciate your asking that question. The typical newspaper article has been absolutely inflammatory on this. What we're talking about here is the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice. And a couple of weeks ago, I was at an event in Spicer, Minnesota, I believe it was. And I was asked a question about my license. And this is indeed the 5th time I've been investigated. And I shared that with the group, and I told them that I have an unrestricted license. The first 4 investigations were all dismissed. But this time around, it's lasted nearly 9 months. And someone said, well, what can we do about it? What can you do about it? Or something like that. Someone mumbled that or barked it out. And I don't even know if it was picked up on the mic. But what was picked up on the mic was my response. And I said something to this effect. I said, if I'm elected in January, do you think that the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice positions are all guaranteed or secure? Because I get to make some picks as governor. I then went on to reference the fact that I thought that this was a juggernaut. And I think the word juggernaut might have been misinterpreted by some, but if you look it up in Webster's dictionary, it has to do with an inexorable, immense force, almost unstoppable. And what I was referencing was not the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice as much as a weaponized regulatory agency, which right now is what the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice is for me. It is a weaponized medical board that for 9 months has evidently been deliberating over the 5th set of allegations against me that appear to be submitted by people who have never met me, never received a healthcare service for me. I do not get to know their names. They're anonymous. And in order for them to bring such trouble into my life, all they have to do is go on the Minnesota Board of Medical webpage and write a few sentences without any evidence of having done any due diligence. They can just write it up. They could say that they don't like the way I dress or wear a tie. And presumably the Board of Medical Practice feels that it has to run each and every complaint up the flagpole because that is their job. I said I would change that as governor, and I will.
One media outlet here in Fargo recently had an opinion piece featuring this headline, which reads, quote, "With Jensen as their choice for governor, Minnesota Republicans lurch further into looniness." What are your thoughts, your response to that kind of coverage?
Well, I think that the extremist here is not Scott Jensen. It would be Governor Tim Walz. It was Governor Walz who felt that 72-hour delay would be appropriate before the National Guard was called in. And arguably, it wasn't just Minneapolis and St. Paul that burned on his watch. It was a plethora of cities across the land. It was Governor Walz who chose to allow the statue of Christopher Columbus to be torn down from its perch. It was Governor Walz who said it's okay for the 3rd precinct building to go down. It's been Governor Walz over and over again. I would challenge anyone who said that, and I would say this. In 2016, I was honored and humbled by the fact that I was selected as the Minnesota Family Physician of the Year in the entire state of Minnesota. I have been a professor at the medical school for more than 3 decades. I received a Bush Fellowship in the late 1990s to continue my study. I am a committed teacher of medicine to residents and medical students. All of this goes out the window because I said that the goalposts were being moved, that I said that lockdowns didn't work. I think I was vindicated there. I said that one size doesn't fit all. Kitson County should not be treated like Hennepin County. I said that nursing homes were being devastated by the fact that active pipeline of disease was created by policies coming from Governor Walz's office. We literally had people who were still infectious being discharged from hospitals into the nursing homes. And then when that nursing home got overtaken with COVID-19, the response was to lock families out and to lock patients in. They died horrific, lonely deaths, frequently bathing in their own urine and stool. I said that the goalposts were being moved, and they were. I said that the modeling was false and flawed, and it was. I said that emergency powers were being abused and weren't being used to decide emergencies, and I was right. I said that transparency was being kicked out the window by Governor Walz, and it was. I said that immunizations being encouraged by use of lottery tickets or sporting event tickets or an ice cream cone was wrong, and I don't think I was wrong on saying that. I said that natural immunity counts, and I think that's a readily accepted phenomenon now. I said that the Great Barrington Declaration was valid and should have been the targeted approach, and I think most people would acknowledge that that was more right on than following Tony Fauci. On all of these counts, I was right. Now, where was I wrong?
I'd like to thank Dr. Scott Jensen, the Republican gubernatorial candidate for the state of Minnesota, for joining me for tonight's one-on-one conversation. You can hear the entire interview online right now at WDAYradionow.com. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has not yet responded to my request for an interview, offering him an opportunity for equal time. We'll continue to try to get that interview for you as well. Well, that will do it for this Wednesday night, June 29th, 2022. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching the Nightly Review.